saying, "Do you know why you pulled me over?" just gave the officer permission to search your entire car, and you didn't even realize it. Stay tuned, because I'm about to show you the 5 most common mistakes people make during traffic stops. Mistakes that can turn a simple speeding ticket into an arrest, a search, or thousands of dollars in legal fees. And this is USA Rights Simplified, where we break down your legal rights in plain English. If you drive in America, this video could literally save you from jail time or massive fines. So hit that subscribe button, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to say, what not to say, and how to protect yourself during any traffic stop.
Can I see your license?
We're covering the 5 biggest mistakes from the moment you see those flashing lights until the officer drives away. I'll show you real examples, tell you exactly what words to use, and explain what your constitutional rights actually mean in this situation. Mistake number 5 is the one that gets people arrested most often, so don't skip ahead. Let's get started. Mistake number 1, rolling down your window all the way. Mistake number 1 happens before the officer even gets to your car, and most people have no idea they're doing it wrong. Here's what usually happens. You see the lights, you pull over, and you immediately roll down your window all the way. Maybe you even turn off the car and take out your keys to be helpful. But here's the problem. You just gave the officer easy access to smell inside your car, see everything, and reach in if they want to. Here's what you should do instead. First, roll down your window just enough to pass documents, about 2 to 3 inches. That's it. This is completely legal, and it limits what the officer can see and smell. Courts have repeatedly ruled this is within your rights. Second, keep your car running. You don't have to turn it off unless the officer specifically asks. Why? Because if your car is off, the officer might argue you were preparing to flee if you turn it back on. Third, turn on your interior light if it's nighttime. This shows cooperation and lets the officer see your hands clearly, which makes them feel safer. In Rodriguez versus United States, the Supreme Court ruled that officers can only extend a traffic stop if they have reasonable suspicion of other crimes. By limiting what they can observe through your window, you're protecting yourself from, "Oh, I smelled marijuana," or "I saw suspicious items." Pro tip, some officers will ask you to roll down your window more. You can politely say, "I'm comfortable with this, officer. I can hand you my documents through this gap." They might not like it, but it's your constitutional right. Mistake number 2, answering, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" Mistake number 2 is the classic trap question, and about 90% of people fall for it every single time. Officer walks up and says, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" or "Do you know how fast you were going?" Most people think they're being helpful by answering honestly. "Yeah, I think I was going a little fast," or "Was I speeding?" Congratulations, you just confessed to the crime. You just made the officer's job incredibly easy. Your own words will be used against you in court. No breathalyzer needed, no radar gun evidence needed. You admitted guilt. Why is this a trap? This question is designed to get you to incriminate yourself. It's a Fifth Amendment issue. You have the right not to be a witness against yourself, and that right applies during traffic stops, not just arrests. If the officer already knew you were speeding, they wouldn't ask. They'd tell you. They're asking because you want to provide the evidence. The right response. Here's exactly what to say instead. Option 1, "No, officer, I don't know. Can you tell me?" Option 2, "I'd prefer not to answer questions, but here are my documents." Option 3, silence. You can just hand over your license and registration without saying anything at all. Important note, you are required to provide license registration and proof of insurance when asked. That's not optional, but you are not required to answer questions about where you're going, where you've been, or whether you know why you were stopped. Court case reference. In Berkemer versus McCarty, the Supreme Court ruled that you don't have to answer incriminating questions during a traffic stop. This isn't being difficult, this is exercising your constitutional rights. What actually happens? The officer might say, well, I clocked you going 15 over. Now they've told you what they have. You still don't admit anything. You can say, I understand, officer, or just stay silent. Never argue about the speed. Save that for court if you decide to fight the ticket. Mistake number 3, consenting to a vehicle search. Here's how it happens. The officer has given you your ticket or a warning. Everything should be over. Then they say one of these. Do you mind if I take a quick look in your vehicle? Or, you don't have anything illegal in the car, right? So you won't mind if I search. Or, if you've got nothing to hide, you'll let me search. And most people think, well, I don't have anything illegal, so why not cooperate? And they say yes. Here's the problem. Once you consent, anything they find can be used against you, even things you didn't know were there. Maybe your friend left something in your car last week. Maybe there's an old pocket knife under the seat that you forgot about. Maybe there's a pill that fell out of a prescription bottle and now the officer thinks it's something else. Or maybe, and this happens, the officer claims they found something and now it's your word against theirs. Your constitutional right. The Fourth Amendment protects you from unreasonable searches. Police need either your consent or a warrant or probable cause. If they had probable cause, like smelling drugs or seeing weapons, they wouldn't be asking permission. They're asking because they don't have a legal reason to search. Exactly what to say. Here's the magic phrase, and I want you to memorize this. Officer, I do not consent to searches. That's it. Say it calmly and clearly. Don't explain, don't argue, don't justify. Just, I do not consent to searches. They might say, why not? What are you hiding? Your response? I'm not hiding anything. I simply do not consent to searches. Am I free to go? What if they search anyway? If they search anyway, do not physically resist. Do not touch the officer. Say clearly, I do not consent to this search, and repeat it. If they find anything, your lawyer can potentially get it thrown out in court because the search was unconstitutional. Important distinction. Note, if you're arrested, they can search your car incident to arrest. That's different. We're talking about when you're not under arrest and they're just asking permission. Real statistics. According to ACLU data, about 70% of people consent to searches when asked. Don't be in that 70%. Even if you have nothing to hide, protect your rights. Mistake number 4, talking too much. Mistake number 4 is simple but deadly. You keep talking when you should shut up. You're nervous, the officer is standing there, you feel like you need to fill the silence. So you start volunteering information. I'm coming from a bar, but I only had 1 beer 3 hours ago. Sorry, officer, I was distracted looking at my phone. I know this looks suspicious, but I can explain. Every single sentence is potential evidence against you. Every word can be twisted. Every explanation can make things worse. Remember this legal phrase, anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Notice it doesn't say anything you say can be used to help you, because it won't. The officer is not your friend right now. They're investigating. Their job is to find violations and collect evidence. What to do instead? After you've handed over your license and registration, here's what you should do. Option 1, say nothing. Literally just sit there quietly. Option 2, if asked a question, say, I'm exercising my right to remain silent, officer. Option 3, only speak to ask, am I free to go? Or am I being detained? That's it. No small talk, no explanations, no nervous chattering. Common scenarios. Officer asks, where are you coming from? You? I'd prefer not to answer questions. Officer asks, where are you headed? You? I'd prefer not to answer questions. Officer asks, have you been drinking tonight? You? I'm exercising my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. Yes, it feels awkward. Yes, the officer might get annoyed, but annoying an officer is better than incriminating yourself. What about field sobriety tests? Side note, field sobriety tests are also optional in most states. You can refuse them. The officer will probably arrest you anyway if they suspect DUI, but at least you haven't given them additional evidence. However, breathalyzer laws vary by state. Some states have implied consent laws where refusing can result in automatic license suspension. Know your state's laws. Mistake number 5, not knowing when you can leave. And now mistake number 5. This is the one that keeps traffic stops going way longer than they should, and it's the mistake that leads to most arrests. The scenario: the officer has your license, they've written the ticket or given you a warning, but they're still standing at your window asking questions, and you keep answering because you think you have to. You don't realize that the traffic stop is legally over and you could have left 5 minutes ago.
The legal rule. Here's what the Supreme Court said in Rodriguez versus United States. A traffic stop can only last as long as necessary to handle the traffic violation. Once the officer has dealt with the reason for the stop, they cannot extend it without reasonable suspicion of another crime. That means once they've run your license, written the ticket, and handed back your documents, the stop is over. You're free to go. They can't keep you there to fish for other violations. The magic question. So here's what you need to ask. Officer, am I free to go? If they say yes, leave. Roll up your window, drive away carefully. If they say no, ask, am I being detained? What's the reason? They must have reasonable suspicion of a crime to detain you further. I want to ask you more questions is not reasonable suspicion. What happens next? If they say you're being detained, ask what crime they suspect. If they say you're not being detained, ask again. So, I'm free to go? Make them be clear. Are you detained or are you free to go? There's no middle ground. Real example. Let's say the officer says, I need to bring in a drug dog to sniff your car. Can they do that? Not unless they have reasonable suspicion of drugs, and they can't make you wait for the dog to arrive. That's extending the stop beyond the traffic violation. Rodriguez versus United States was specifically about this issue, and the Supreme Court said police cannot extend stops just to wait for drug dogs. Your response. If they say they're calling a drug dog, you say, Officer, I do not consent to any extension of this stop. Am I free to go? If they detain you anyway, don't argue. Stay calm, get a lawyer later, but you've now created a record that you didn't consent, which helps your legal case. Final point on this. Most people don't know this, and they sit there for 30, 45, 60 minutes while the officer investigates things that have nothing to do with the traffic stop. Know your rights. Once the traffic stop reason is resolved, you can leave unless they have reasonable suspicion of another crime. Bonus section. What you are required to do. Important clarification. Now, before we wrap up, let me be very clear about what you are legally required to do during a traffic stop, because I don't want anyone to think you can just refuse everything. Legal requirements. You must. 1. Pull over safely when you see lights and sirens. Pull to the right, use your signal, stop in a safe location.
Here are my license,
2.
registration, and insurance.
Provide your driver's license when asked. This is not optional in any state. 3. Provide vehicle registration when asked. Also required everywhere. 4. Provide proof of insurance when asked. Required in nearly all states. 5. Exit the vehicle if ordered to do so. Pennsylvania versus Mimms established that officers can order you out for officer safety. You must comply. 6. In some states, identify yourself if you're asked, even if you're a passenger. Know your state's ID laws. What you don't have to do. You do not have to, 1. Answer questions beyond providing identification. 2. Consent to searches of your vehicle. 3.
Perform field sobriety tests, though refusing may lead to arrest. 4. Explain where you're going or where you've been. 5. Let officers look in your trunk or bags without consent or probable cause. 6. Admit to any violations or crimes. The balance. Yes, be respectful. Yes, keep your hands visible. Yes, follow lawful orders. But also, yes, exercise your constitutional rights. These rights exist to protect you, and using them is not suspicious or criminal. Closing. All right, let's quickly recap the 5 mistakes to avoid. Mistake number 1, rolling your window down all the way, keep it at 2 to 3 inches. Mistake number 2, answering, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" Never admit anything. Mistake number 3, consenting to searches, always say, "I do not consent." Mistake number 4, talking too much, exercise your right to remain silent. Mistake number 5, not knowing when you can leave, ask, "Am I free to go?" Follow these rules and you'll massively reduce your chances of turning a simple traffic stop into something much worse. Action items. Now, here's what you need to do right now. First, screenshot or write down these key phrases. "I do not consent to searches," and "Am I free to go?" Keep them in your phone so you have them during a traffic stop. Second, share this video with everyone you know who drives. This information could save them from jail time or huge legal fees. Call to action. If you found this helpful, smash that like button and subscribe to USA Rights Simplified. We post new legal rights videos every Tuesday and Thursday. Drop a comment below telling me, have you ever been pulled over? What did you say? Did you make any of these mistakes? I read every comment. Important disclaimer before we go. This video provides educational information only, not legal advice. Every traffic stop is different and laws vary by state. If you're facing criminal charges or legal issues from a traffic stop, consult with a licensed attorney in your jurisdiction immediately. Your safety is paramount. If an officer gives you a lawful order, comply with it. Never physically resist. You can fight illegal stops in court later with a lawyer. Thanks for watching USA Rights Simplified. Remember, knowing your rights is the first step to protecting them. I'll see you in the next video. Drive safe and stay protected.